The dance of attraction is rarely a straightforward affair, especially when dealing with a man who is trying to shield his vulnerability behind a wall of masculine pride. In the landscape of modern dating, admitting to a deep craving for someone's time, validation, and focus can feel incredibly risky. For many men, the fear of rejection or the desire to maintain an aura of absolute independence prevents them from being direct about their feelings. Instead of stepping forward and simply saying, "I miss you," or "I want your undivided attention right now," they rely on a complex web of subconscious behaviors and subtle psychological cues. They drop hidden markers in their daily routines, hoping you will possess the emotional intuition to read between the lines and decode what their pride refuses to voice. Understanding these hidden dynamics requires looking past a man's verbal deflections and focusing entirely on his behavioral patterns. When a man is secretly longing for your attention, his actions undergo a distinct, highly calculated transformation. You might notice a sudden surge in his text response times, a dramatic shift in his physical posture whenever you enter a crowded room, or a series of elaborate accidental run-ins that seem just a bit too convenient to be true. He might use social media as a passive tool to wave a digital flag in your direction, or he may even revert to playful, schoolyard teasing just to provoke a high-voltage reaction out of you. Every single one of these actions is a silent bid for connection, a psychological strategy designed to pull your gaze toward him while keeping his emotional safety net completely intact. This behavioral shielding often creates a confusing paradox for the person on the receiving end. One day, he might seem completely detached, and the next, he is over-explaining a brief absence or fishing for compliments with a layer of mock humility. It is a fragile equilibrium where he desperately wants to be the main character in your immediate environment, yet is terrified of exposing how much power you truly hold over his mood. Recognizing these signs isn't about playing mind games. It is about uncovering the genuine interest, anxiety, and longing that dictate his quiet actions. By breaking down the specific, underlying psychology behind these 15 distinct behaviors, you can pull back the curtain on his silent longing. You will learn to spot the precise moments where his cool exterior cracks, allowing you to see exactly how he actively craves your presence, commands your focus, and silently begs for your attention, all while desperately pretending he doesn't. The lightning-fast replies. When a guy is secretly craving your attention, his response time is the ultimate giveaway. He won't admit it, but his phone is likely in his hand, or at least within arm's reach, waiting specifically for your name to flash across the screen. The moment you text, he drops whatever he is doing to reply instantly. By answering within seconds, he is subconsciously trying to keep the conversation flowing smoothly without any awkward gaps, ensuring your focus remains entirely on him. He might try to play it cool later, but this initial, rapid-fire communication betrays his true eagerness. It shows that you are his top priority in that moment, and he is willing to break the unspoken rules of modern dating dynamics, which usually dictate waiting a few minutes to avoid looking overly desperate, just to stay connected with you. The subtle flex and showing off. A man who wants your attention, but is too proud to ask, for it will often resort to subtle, or sometimes not so subtle, displays of achievement. When you are around, he will casually bring up his recent successes at work, a challenging workout he completed, or a sophisticated hobby he enjoys. He modifies his behavior to highlight his best traits, whether that means speaking slightly louder so you can hear his jokes, or telling stories where he emerges as the hero. This isn't just random bragging. It is a calculated attempt to earn your admiration and validation. He is trying to project an image of strength, competence, and high value, hoping that you will notice his worth and shower him with the praise and focused attention he is quietly starving for. The double texting dilemma. Double texting is a massive vulnerability risk for someone trying to act detached, making it a clear sign of silent longing. If he sends a message and you don't reply right away, his anxiety begins to build. To fix this and pull your eyes back to the chat, he will send a second, seemingly unrelated message a few hours later. It could be a random meme, a casual question about your day, or a link to a video he claims made him think of you. This tactic is designed to restart a stalled conversation without making it obvious that he was actively waiting for your response. He uses these casual follow-ups to bypass his own pride, creating a fresh opportunity for you to engage with him again. The micro changes in posture and body language. Body language rarely lies. Even when a man is trying his hardest to keep his emotions under wraps, the very moment you walk into the room, his physical demeanor undergoes a sudden, subconscious transformation. He will immediately straighten his spine, square his shoulders, and pull in his stomach to appear more dominant and attractive. He might nervously smooth down his clothes, run a hand through his hair, or adjust his watch. These micro-adjustments are hardwired behavioral triggers, aimed at drawing your physical gaze toward him. His body is naturally reacting to your presence, attempting to signal his masculinity and command the space, all in the silent hope that your eyes will lock onto him and stay there. The intentional interruption. When you are engaged in a conversation with someone else, a man craving your attention will often find a way to break into your orbit. He might loudly interject with a joke, casually walk past your desk with an unnecessary question, or abruptly steer the group's discussion toward a topic where he can take the lead. This behavioral pattern stems from a mild sense of jealousy. He simply cannot stand being on the periphery of your awareness, while someone else enjoys your direct focus. By interrupting, he disrupts the current dynamic and forces you to acknowledge his presence. It is a slightly disruptive but highly effective way to redirect the spotlight back onto himself, ensuring he remains the main character in your immediate environment. The accidental memory lapses. A man who secretly wants your focus will sometimes feign forgetfulness to create an excuse for interaction. He might ask you to remind him of a date, a specific detail about a story you previously told, or the name of a restaurant you mentioned weeks ago. By pretending he forgot, he achieves two psychological goals. First, it gives him a risk-free reason to reach out or spark a conversation without appearing overly eager. Second, it forces you to deeply engage with him to refresh his memory. In reality, he likely remembers every single word you said, but playing slightly clueless allows him to test how willing you are to invest your time and energy into explaining things to him, letting him bask in your undivided focus under the guise of a casual, innocent question. The strategic social media activity. When direct communication feels too risky for his pride, he will use social media as a passive tool to grab your gaze. He becomes highly visible on your digital radar, becoming the very first person to view your Instagram stories, dropping likes on older posts, or sharing content that perfectly aligns with your specific interests. He might post status updates, music tracks, or photos of himself looking his best, deliberately curated to trigger a response or a direct message from you. This is a classic attention-seeking behavior designed to keep him relevant in your mind without him having to make an explicit move. He is essentially waving a digital flag, dropping subtle breadcrumbs to lure you into his inbox, so that you are the one initiating the contact. The compliment baiting. Since he is too guarded to openly ask for your validation, he will cast out fishing lines disguised as self-deprecation or mock humility. He might casually mention that he feels out of shape, that his hair looks messy today, or that he isn't sure if his outfit looks right. He sets these verbal traps because he knows your natural instinct will be to contradict him with reassurance. He is actively baiting you to say, "No, you look great," or "You did an amazing job." This clever psychological maneuver allows him to satisfy his deep craving for your approval and praise, while maintaining a completely safe emotional distance, making it seem like you volunteered the sweet words entirely on your own. The teasing and playful provocation. When a man doesn't know how to openly ask for your attention, he will often revert to schoolyard tactics by teasing you. He will poke fun at your quirks, give you a playful nickname, or playfully disagree with your opinions just to get a passionate reaction out of you. This behavior is driven by the philosophy that any engagement from you is good engagement. By pushing your buttons in a light-hearted way, he guarantees that you will look at him, argue back, or laugh, pulling you entirely into his personal space. It is a highly effective defense mechanism that allows him to enjoy an intense, emotionally charged, and flirtatious back and forth dynamic with you without ever having to expose his true vulnerability. The deep eye contact and sudden look away. The eyes are the ultimate giveaway of silent longing, creating a tense game of visual cat and mouse. When you are in the same room, you will frequently catch him staring at you from across the space with an intense, lingering gaze. However, the exact moment your eyes meet his, he will quickly look away, suddenly becoming fascinated by his phone, his drink, or a conversation with someone else. This rapid aversion of his eyes is a classic sign of someone caught red-handed. He desperately wants to look at you and feel connected to you, but his pride and fear of rejection Prevent him from holding that gaze once he is exposed, leaving a trail of high-voltage tension behind. The drama manifestation. When a man is starved for your attention but refuses to ask for it directly, he might unconsciously create petty problems or exaggerate minor inconveniences. He will bring up a complicated dilemma at work, a sudden misunderstanding with a friend, or a mysterious streak of bad luck, presenting it to you with an air of mild distress. This is a strategic bid for your empathy and emotional energy. He knows that sharing a struggle will naturally trigger your protective or nurturing instincts, forcing you to pause what you are doing to comfort him, give advice, or help him brainstorm solutions. By positioning himself as someone facing a temporary crisis, he successfully commands your complete focus and emotional investment without ever having to utter the vulnerable words, "I just need you right now." The over-explaining of his absence. If there is a brief gap in your communication, or if he takes longer than usual to reply to a message, a man craving your validation will provide a massive, unprompted explanation. Before you even have a chance to ask, he will launch into a highly detailed paragraph outlining exactly why he was busy, who he was with, and what delayed him. He might mention a sudden emergency meeting, a dead phone battery, or a favor he had to do for family. This over-explanation is a defensive reflex driven by anxiety. He is terrified that during his brief absence, you might have lost interest, moved on, or assumed he was ghosting you. By offering an airtight alibi, he is subtly pleading with you to keep your door open for him. The total focus shift. When you enter, you can measure a man's silent desire for your attention by observing how his energy shifts the exact moment you arrive in his vicinity. Whether you walk into a crowded party, a casual group hangout, or a shared workspace, his internal compass immediately resets to face you. Even if he is in the middle of a sentence with someone else, his voice tone might change, his laughter might grow louder, or he may abruptly wrap up his current conversation just to make room for you. He will position his chair to face your direction, mirror your movements, and constantly check to see if you are watching him. He wants to ensure that he is the most interesting person in your immediate field of vision, anchoring his entire night around your presence. The passive-aggressive, quiet mode. When his subtle attempts to get your attention fail, a man's pride can easily turn into a quiet, sulky retreat. If he feels ignored or notices you giving your attention to someone else, he might suddenly withdraw into a brooding, passive-aggressive silence. He will answer your questions with short, one-word responses, cross his arms, or look intentionally distant. This cold exterior is actually a loud, desperate cry for your notice. It is a psychological test to see if you will care enough to notice his shift in mood. He is actively waiting for you to ask, "Is everything okay?" Or, "Are you mad at me?" The moment you step in to investigate his sudden silence, he gets the exact reassurance and focused concern he was craving all along. The "I just happen to be here" coincidences. A man who is secretly longing for your presence will start orchestrating elaborate coincidences just to cross paths with you. He will suddenly start frequenting your favorite coffee shop, showing up at the gym during your exact workout hours, or attending events he previously expressed no interest in. When you inevitably bump into him, he will act completely surprised, offering a casual excuse like, "Oh wow, I just happened to be in the neighborhood." In reality, these encounters are rarely accidental. He is intentionally placing himself in your physical path because his pride won't let him invite you out directly. By engineering these random run-ins, he creates a low-stakes environment where a conversation can happen naturally, giving him the attention he wants without any risk of rejection.